A Tennessee man is building a brighter and more connected community one step at a time. Sean Drumgool is a longtime resident of his Nashville neighborhood known as 12 South. After the death of George Floyd, he posted to social media saying he was afraid to walk alone because of the color of his skin. Our Jamie Wax shows us his neighborhood's moving response.
Sean Drumgool is no stranger to the view outside his Nashville home. The 30-year-old has lived in the neighborhood his entire life, his family for generations.
Growing up, it was a mostly black community. Everyone was family, and then it changed.
As the area grew in popularity, Sean watched as his neighborhood became gentrified. The black families he once played with moved out, and white families moved in. And a few years ago, a pivotal turning point. Sean says police stopped him without reason and followed him home to make sure he lived there.
No justice, no peace.
In a time when America is experiencing nationwide protests over racial inequality, he didn't feel safe to walk alone down his street.
What was it that made you feel fear in a neighborhood that your family had been a part of for 54 years?
People saying, it's a suspicious-looking black man walking down the street. If you say suspicious-looking black man, the police come ready, and I'm dead before I can even think. It's a very real fear as an African-American male in 2020.
As George Floyd's story became embedded in the American conscience, Sean posted this. I wanted to walk around my neighborhood, but the fear of not returning home to my family alive kept me on my front porch.
50 people would respond, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'll walk with you. And there were 75 people in the parking lot. It's like, wow, I don't feel invisible. I feel like people care.
I will never know what it's like to be in the shoes of somebody who has a different color skin than me.
Carrie Conley was one of the neighbors at the walk.
I've lived here 15 years. He's literally like 3.5 blocks from me, and I've never seen him or his family. So it was a big wake-up call for me.
I want to show you the amazing neighbors that are here.
Sean began hosting weekly neighborhood walks with hundreds of strangers coming out to support him.
Bless this walk!
Turning it into a movement called We Walk with Sean. The goal is simple. Get to know your neighbors.
When you're walking, you're bound to have conversations. And when you have conversations, you change. You learn so that you can be a positive effect.
Yeah, it was that bridge. That's all that it was.
For Carrie and Sean, these one-time strangers are now like family.
He calls me a sister. It seems like I've known him my whole life. If we don't stop to talk to our neighbors, we're missing out on so much.
We are only getting started.
Sean hopes he can bring the movement to many U.S. cities and walk in other gentrified neighborhoods.
This is what happens to black and brown families who remain in inner city or suburban neighborhoods. It's a bad feeling when you feel like you're a prisoner. I literally felt like I was a prisoner on my front porch.
You are sitting on the steps that you sat on and were afraid to move from. How does it feel now?
I'm now free to walk around the neighborhood. The whole world is behind me. I am getting to see America live up to its creed of being a more perfect union. I'm a part of a story that begins on the slave ships, and now I get to see this little part of the world become a better place.
For CBS This Morning, Jamie Wax, New York.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's fun
really.
watching those long lines of people as the walks get longer every day.
And it really puts it in perspective when, the end there, descendants of slaves, and now here you are walking with white people, black people, all kinds of people. And I think that walk should be happening more throughout all neighborhoods in this country.
We do have some exciting news, by the way, to share about Jamie Wax, who just did that story. We told you on Saturday. We're going to tell you again now. We can talk about this every day because we're so happy for Jamie.
So cute.
He and his wife, Jacqueline, welcomed a baby girl. There she is. Adelaide Simone Wax was born July 30th. Was talking with Jamie over the weekend.
Yeah. He sent me a text the day before.
Yeah.
Like, going into labor at 10 o'clock. I'm like, prayers up. Good luck.
Could you imagine all that happening
Yeah, such a great dad.
at once? Congrats, man.
Congrats.